be a Sydney Swans fan of late takes nerves of steel, with just 1 point the margin at the end of their last 2 matches. A timely win over the Magpies and a late charge that came up short against the Tigers.
1 point the difference.
Last year at this ground, their battle with the Cats was also a nail-biting finish. In fact, every second game between these two teams in the last 4 years has been decided by a kick. It's a pointer toward another epic struggle between two teams battling for a top 4 spot. The Swans and the Cats on Saturday Night Football. Welcome to the SCG, round 15, Geelong taking on the Sydney Swans. Big news from the Geelong camp, 3 replacements. We'll get to those names shortly, but all the emergencies are being used tonight as they take on this team, the Sydney Swans, who are in good form. They've won 6 of their last 8, and they've won 4 of 6 here at the SCG this year. Adam Goodes made his debut in round 1 of 1999. He's the captain tonight, and he's playing his 150th game. Hello, Matthew Campbell with you, and I'm joined by Gary Ayres. And Gary, the big news, Geelong, no Cameron Ling, that's a big story in itself. No Ling, no King, no Rook. Mark Thompson's been placed in check, so to speak.
Throws a lot of pressure on the side, doesn't it, when, I don't know when the last time it would have been that you've actually had 3 emergencies all come in on the one night.
Taking on a Sydney team that if they play anything like they did in the last quarter last week against the Tigers, where they were prepared to run, they're going to be hard to beat.
Well, they backed themselves, and 7 goals in 1 quarter was sensational. But once again, maybe Paul Roos has 2 different game styles, Matty. So one's about in the gate, but then when it actually looks like a lost cause, then he just says attack. And of course, they played pretty well.
There's a logjam of teams behind the West Coast Eagles. These 2 are right amongst it, 8 and 9 wins. Sydney could join this group on 9. That's why it's such a crucial game.
Oh, no doubt. And it could be an 8-point game, Matty, if actually Sydney were to get up tonight.
Yeah, it's a very important game, and we are expecting a close finish. Sydney they love their close finishes, 2 1-point wins in a row, as we said off the opener. From the point of view of Geelong, their bad luck continues as far as injuries are concerned, but some youngsters get a chance. Mark Blake makes his debut tonight. Cameron Thurley comes back into the side, and also James Riley. As we take a look at the sides, Barry Hall kept goalless last week for the first time in 18 weeks. He struggles against Matthew Scarlett, though.
No doubt. And Matty Scarlett's been really getting back into some top form, so looking very much forward to that match-up tonight, Matty.
Cameron Mooney's been doing the job for Mark Thompson at centre-half back up against O'Loughlin. The Sydney Swans forward line is pretty talented.
Oh, no doubt. And if it all fires, well, of course, you'd think Sydney should win. But once again, Cam Mooney's been in pretty reasonable form over last month.
Brett Kirk will do the job. He's up against Jimmy Bartell through the middle. Cameron Thurley has come into the side. Goodes will get a roving commission all over the ground.
You would think so. And actually, I'd like to see, too, Roosy throw him in the ruck and have a real crack at, obviously now that King's not there, so it'd be interesting to see how he uses him tonight.
Paul Chapman is a goal kicker, 4 in the 1 quarter last week.
He's been in really good form, and you want to see some of their kids too, in Charlie Gardner and Haynes, Matthews, Bolton, Kennelly. That's a pretty good half-back line there, Matty.
Haynes' second game for the season. Leo Barry at fullback on Kent Kingsley, who was terrific last week, and he really, when he's moving about like that, he gives them a real option up forward.
He does, but unfortunately, his kicking's probably not as good as it should be if he wants to be a key full forward.
Chambers with a lot of responsibility tonight.
Most definitely. And look, he's slowly getting a little bit more game time, but they'll need a big game out of him. Another player for Sydney that's been very good too has been Luke Ablett.
It's been a pretty settled side, the Sydney Swans. McVeigh, Ball, Moore and Fosdyke on the bench. Moore coming into the team. And for Geelong, Burns, Kouliariotis, Egan and Blake coming in for his debut. So interesting way that Mark Thompson will line up with his side. He has had a lot of problems with injury. Round 15, the Swans up against Geelong. And we're underway here on a Saturday night, which is good conditions. There was some rain forecast, but thankfully it has stayed away. It was a pretty good afternoon here in Sydney today, and there's a big conglomerate of players around the secondary bounce. Barry Hall with Matthew Scarlett up forward, as we expected, and Barry Hall has really struggled against Geelong, and Matthew Scarlett is one of the reasons why. Big punch by Adam Goodes out in front. Williams first to it, but Ablett keeps his feet. Heads inside 50 for the first time for Geelong. Riccardi the target, right with him. Matthews. Riccardi can't keep it in. We'll have a boundary throw in.
Adam Goods in game number 150, captaining the side for the next fortnight, but more importantly, 150 games qualifies him for life membership. Wonderful achievement. A whistle on play. There's a free kick to Geelong, much to the bemusement of Darren Jolly.
You've certainly got one interesting matchup too, Wayne, is that actually Josh Hunt is being accountable for O'Loughlin.
Mooney got the handball from Chambers. The Cats go deep inside 50. Cameron Thurley just got in front. Clean grab and a chance to put the first score on the board for Geelong.
But it's also, too, the centering kick. It's a dangerous kick when you actually come back into the corridor, and that's one thing that Geelong would certainly want to be doing tonight, and that's owning the corridor.
And there's the entry inside 50. Good centering kick in front. And he's been deadly in front of goal. He's only played the 4 games, but he's 7 straight. This for number 8. Ideal start for Geelong. He's got there first.
Back in the middle, the Sydney Swans yet to get hold of the football, and it's been a good start by Geelong. They have the first goal. Jolly and Chambers coming through Kirk, but couldn't take possession, and umpire Brett Allen agreeing with me, and Brett Kirk will take the free kick. The man they call the captain, and there's a rotating captaincy with Stuart Maxfield out for the long term, and Brett Kirk is a wonderful leader. Speaking of wonderful leaders, Michael O'Loughlin on a terrific lead. Looks to lay it off inside the forward 50, does so nicely from just outside 50. He's got it. Scores a level.
Jolly holds out Chambers. The ball favours Davis. Backed himself in heavy traffic. Heads up towards Barry Hall. Got himself in the front position, but Scarlett was up to the task, and he's been that way all for the first quarter and the early stages of this second. Adam Goods, game number 150, a little bit of showtime. He's got Swans players in the square, didn't see them, but the kick was up to the task, and he found Barry Hall.
And that's great vision from Adam Goods, Wayne, too. But the thing that I would like to see Barry Hall do is lead more on Matty Scarlett. He can't body Matty because we know how strong he is, but we see here Paul Williams handball, Adam Goods, just the presence to actually get back on his feet, but the kick was well weighted into the corridor, and Barry Hall's in front, and that's where he will be most dangerous, I believe, on Matty Scarlett.
Well, he was held goalless for the first time this year by Darren Gaspar last week. His record in the last 4 encounters with Geelong, he's only kicked 6 goals for, so an important kick for Barry, but more importantly the Swans. For the first of the second term, it looks good off the boot. It is.
.25 metres around from Sydney's goal. Clever tap. O'Keefe. Play for the free kick. Got it. Well, I was about to say he won't get it. Sydney Swans like to see it, Gary, as Ryan O'Keefe lines up. Stretches the lead to 9 points.
He is a fine forward line player, Ryan O'Keefe. Sydney 12 possessions to Geelong's 2 in this early part of the second quarter. They go forward again, Sydney. They've got the numbers. This time it's Ryan O'Keefe feigned the handball for 2 and 30 seconds. You better believe it.
Well, if he went to put the kettle on for a cup of tea at quarter time, he got back late. Yes, Sydney kicked 3 goals. 3 very quick ones. And starting here in the middle, Chambers again wins the knock, but the clearances are going Sydney's way. And they're going in another one through Adam Goods. O'Loughlin found his way to the front. Sanderson doesn't panic in these situations. Clever give to Hunt. Chapman spreading it wider to Nace. Not a lot to kick to. Has to wait for the cavalry to arrive, so to speak. So decides to switch play back to Sanderson. Now the loose player. They share it. Nace ran hard to get to the other side, but Sydney blocked up here. Good tackler, Lachlan Buchanan. Clever play by him, knocking it forward. Sanderson went to grounds. Davis stayed on his feet. Wonderful work from Buchanan. Davis shares with Williams. This could be a marvellous team goal because he kicks it over to Jared Crouch. Oh, what a goal, Sydney. You can all take a bow.
They kicked their first goal at the 1 minute 50 mark of the first term. They've kicked 4 inside the first 7 minutes of this second term and blown the game apart. 21 points in front, Sydney. Congested centre square. Riccardi's kick partly smothered. A favourable bounce to O'Keefe, who already has 2 in this second term. Goods, the man of the moment, takes the mark. They're threatening Sydney to blow this game apart. Hall in the goal square, 1 out. That's where he heads. Scarlett, battle of strength. Barry! Barry Hall for his second. Got it. Sydney have 5. The margin now out to 27 points.
He's handed the ball first in the ruck contest, though. Egan was there. It spills back to Milburn. Eventually, Sanderson gave it to Kelly. High ball, tough one to mark. Buchanan almost. Gee, he's a terrier, isn't he? He's away! Look at that! Never say die, Buchanan to Barry Hall! In and out. Here's Hall for his third. His third of the quarter. And Sydney get their 6th of the quarter. The margin, 33 points. Chapman off to the bench straight away. Riccardi comes back on. Here's the descent. And here's Kirk. Around the body, another one. It's raining goals at the SCG.
They are certainly under pressure, the Cats. Sydney inside 50 entries in this quarter, 7 for 7 goals. Geelong 4 entries for no score, and there's a whistle on play. Free kick to Sydney. It'll go to Jude Bolton.
No one on the mark.
Darren Morris officiating off the side of the square, paid that ball. Free kick to Bolton. They go inside 50. It's all falling their way into the arms of the acting captain, Adam Goods. We'll watch it closely. It splits the posts. 8 entries inside 50. 8 big ones. They're on fire, Sydney. Oh, tumbles the kick. Well, it was intended for Milburn, but again, Sydney with plenty of numbers. Ablett doesn't waste a round, kicks the ball towards Goods, gets away from Mooney, juggles the mark. Just inside the boundary line, Hall breaks, slides, safe, but more importantly, takes the mark. For number 4, no problems there. Barry has it. Sydney have kicked 9 for the turn. With a Sydney player down. That's Brett Kirk. Met heavily. Tough competitor. But he might need some assistance to get off the ground and have a rest himself. Assisted by the trainers. He wants to stay on. He's doing his best. Waving off the trainers, but he might be better served to head off and
he's a bit wobbly.
Come to his senses.
Yeah.
And umpire Brett Allen just coming in. Bit of common sense prevailing there, you would think.
Yeah.
Dr. Nathan Gibbs and the head physio Matthew Cameron for the Sydney Football Club, escorting much to the anguish of Brett Kirk.
Well, certainly full credit, because we know the kid is very, very tough, and Brett Kirk's been a wonderful player for Sydney Footy Club. But there's nothing to gain. 2 minutes to go, Wayne. Get him off, rest him, get diagnosed by the doctor, see what the problem is.
Kelly goes backwards to Raleigh, to Mooney. Across the face of goal, he's got no one to kick to. Ablett and Crouch in pursuit of the ball. Crouch, well, not favoured by a good bounce, but Gary Ablett is, but Crouch backs up, got a lunging tackle. Kennelly with courage, stuck a hand up, but there's a whistle on play. And it'll go to Kent Kingsley. Leo Barry doesn't agree with it. The kick from inside the square, steers the ball, it's a good kick. He's got his second. An important goal for Geelong.
Some joy for Cats fans watching around the country. Kingsley with his first. Chambers can still get his hand to it in the ruck. Kouliariotis got it from Kelly. A chance for the Cats once again. Can they get 2 late ones? Thurley Gets up. Didn't see Leo Barry. Pushed in the back. He'll have a shot on goal. Sydney fans not happy. Lining up for number 2. Must kick this. Just like, oh, he got close to the man on the mark again. But it's through. Geelong saving some face late in this second term.
Cats' best quarter this year, or their best quarters have been their third. They've won 9 of 14. They'll need to win this if they're a chance. There's a whistle on play. There's another Geelong free kick. It will go to Gary Ablett Jr. Advantage is paid to Geelong goal. They've made up for that Paul Chapman miss. And David Haynes kicks his first, and Geelong get their fourth. Some of the Geelong key forwards in Kingsley and Gardner starting to find themselves into space. High ball towards Haynes. Dempster, good spoil to Kirk. Heavy knock in that second term. Good to see him back on. Evades the tackle. Gardner, terrific smother. They're inside 50 again, the Cats. Ball squirts out towards Mooney. Taps it into the path of Ablett. Over the top to Thurley. And the Cats get their second.
It was just unfortunately bad timing to get Chambers off and Haynes on.
And Jason Ball was the man involved for Sydney. He got the free kick and gave it over to this man. Roberts Thompson. Oh, Haynes did well. Chapman needs to kick one. Oh, he does! The Cats have got another goal. Chapman finally gets a goal for himself.
Well, they've responded as Mark Thompson would have wished at half-time. Haynes, Barry with the spoil. We so often see with Leo Barry. Shrugged the tackler. Got it to his side, kicking Kennelly. He can go to Davis. He's got Kirk in front of him. Kirk tells him to run. Has a bounce. Now will go long towards Hall or O'Loughlin. Good contest. Barry with strength. 1, 2, 3. He's got the mark. And a shot. Identical position earlier in the term. And that's a much better result. He's got goal number 5. An important goal for Sydney. It's down the line. Ball. Gives it off to Davis. Now backtracks. Heads towards Barry Hall. Raleigh ran with the flight of the ball but couldn't get a spoil. Plays on quickly. And there's that man on screen, Amon Buchanan, now in the forward pocket. Can centre the ball. Great vision. Finds Kirk directly in front. And Brett Kirk will go back and kick for his second. Brett Kirk directly in front. Wobbles the boot off the ball. Off the boot, I should say. But more importantly, he gets his second. All the more reason. And life Nempter. Have the shot at him.
He's going to pass.
Well, there you go. Kick lets him down. Egan to Sanderson. Brush the tackle. The Cats go forward towards Haynes. He's outnumbered. Dempster's there. He's got support in Barry. Haynes, he did well, the big man. Kept the ball alive, but Barry got a spoil there. And the Swans, they've got numbers now.
Leo Barry just chips it back through the middle. Jared Moore picks it up on the half volley. Have they got time, the Swans? Short pass. Well, Luke Ablett has time. 52 metres out. It's hanging up. It's not going to get there. Well, it did. Somehow it got through everybody. How did it happen? They're happy in the Sydney camp. They rush around to Luke Ablett. Geelong defenders confused because that went through at normal body height, Gary. I mean, that should have been spoiled or stopped.
Most definitely, and look, Bomber Thompson certainly wouldn't be happy. He's had enough on his plate with obviously how the game's been going, but we see here it's a deliberate shot after the siren. You should have as many numbers in the goal square as possible, and for not one Geelong player to get his hand on that, that's pretty disappointing. But we did also see it against Fremantle. Look at the look on Bomber Thompson's face there.
Towards Corey. Got away from Darren Jolly on that occasion. Not his direct opponent. Quite by his standards, Joel Corey. Kennelly couldn't take the one-handed mark, but he's got support there. Bolton to Roberts Thompson. Heads up the middle of the ground. He's got a loose play. That's Davis camped inside the square now. Normally a thumping kick. Heads towards O'Loughlin. There'll be a bit too. No, there's not. Well, you can look foolish sometimes, Gary, when you predict something that's going to happen, but he got up there on the stretch. The knees are fine, and on the second attempt took a terrific mark. Standing by. That's 11. Michael O'Loughlin has his first. And young Egan takes the kick, finds Scarlett deep in defence.
And he's finally got a runner who's very clear at the moment, and that's Bartel in the centre square. Oh, untidy. Ablett, put him under pressure, the poor give. Is it still under pressure? Great chasing by Sydney. Blake doesn't know where to go. Well, it's just the skill error that could end up with a shot on goal. The tackle from Chapman on ball was good. Going back to help out Milburn. There's Bartel going in again, but he gave it straight to Williams, who pops it over the top to Davis, who could have played on, but he'll go back and kick it. 18 disposals, 9 marks. Is this goal number 2? It is. Another goal to the Swans.
Less, Paul Chapman has 1 goal 2 for the evening. Will kick from outside 50, won't get the distance. Jason Ball with strength takes the mark, but there's a free kick. That'll go to Jimmy Bartel against Nick Fosdyke holding the man.
No tall there again, though, Gary, was there? It was just Jimmy Bartel against the couple.
They must think Chapman's going to kick at 55 metres, but I just think mentally that's where they've probably been at for most of this game, especially from that second quarter onwards, Matty.
With the Cats' 7th goal, Bartel converts.
Who loops it high. And that was just far too easy for Ryan O'Keefe. Look where you're going with that. Not bad. Pretty good. He's got 3 goals, Ryan O'Keefe.
Free kicks 25 in favour of Geelong, 13 to Sydney. Last play of the evening. Siren signals a terrific Sydney win. 16 goals, 9, 105 as a wry smile goes across the face of Amon Buchanan. The Cats, well, it's a night that they'll forget. 7 goals, 9, 51.